How you doing? Everything good?
I'm doing very well. Yeah, just trying to keep warm. It's been quite chilly in Boston lately, so
Ooh, you're in Boston. Yeah.
Boston, yep.
My son was up there for 4 years. He went to Berkeley.
Oh yeah, Berkeley. I know a lot of people who went to Berkeley. It
Yeah.
seems like a fun school.
Yeah, it's really cool. I mean, there's some great musicians teaching there, just amazing. I think Fred Lipsius was there for years. A lot of really, really great musicians teaching there.
Yeah.
Will had a ball. He went through 4 years, felt like about 4 months. He was just in and out in no time, and he graduated on the dean's list. So I'm pretty proud of that. That was
Oh,
cool.
congratulations to him.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
what did he play?
You name it. But he
Everything?
really a piano player and a singer. He was really a great singer. He was actually a finalist on The Voice in I
Oh
think
wow.
their fifth season, a while back, a couple of years ago, 3 or 4 years ago.
Oh, so he's had quite a journey. That's nice.
Yeah, yeah, and I've got a guest house with my studio or my workstation in it, and he's on the other side of the room with his. So sometimes we're in there with, well, turn off the speakers. We're going to have to work with cans, work with good old earphones. I wouldn't have these on right now, other than the fact that my laptop speakers are blown. Everything sounds like.
Oh, I hate that. I've had that happen to me.
Yeah. I had it in the shop and I just forgot to tell him, hey man, put on the speakers. I'm so used to just having the earphones on. So hey, I got a new album.
I know, right? I can't wait to talk to you about it. I
Cool.
have to say, I love it. I love that there's such an eclectic range of sounds on it.
Yeah.
For example, the first single, Reason to Believe, it starts off almost like a ballad and then builds up into like a soulful rock tune.
Yeah. I always considered Bambi meets Godzilla. Da 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 spoosh.
Yeah, I love it. And then there's also some tracks that kind of, I don't know how to describe it, kind of like a jazz fusion type sound to it.
Which one was that? You remember?
For me, it was Especially Me and Hey, like those two songs.
Yeah. Yeah. They go in a lot of different directions. I have a tendency to write bridges that do different things. You know what I mean? And I always find a bridge is just this is here to kind of give you a break from the hammering of a chorus. The chorus over and over again. And so I usually don't write the bridges when I'm in the house. I'll write them when I'm actually programming a thing. Put it together. Go. Well, now's the time to now that I got drums up, I can kind of write what a bridge will do. And with Especially Me, it's Greg Matheson who actually put the track together,
Oh,
and I co-wrote the song with. I did 3 songs with Greg: Especially Me, Losing Ground, and The Truth Has Begun. And he's an old dear friend, and we actually one of my first solo, well, not my first solo album, but my maybe third or fourth solo album was with Greg. Greg and I produced it, and we've just been friends ever since. We have a ball writing together.
yeah, seems like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really loving all the tracks, and I'm kind of curious about the song, A Stevie Song. Can you talk a little bit about the story behind that one?
Well, the story was, I was watching TV, and there was just nothing. Even on regular TV, not just the news, but there was just nothing but people out on the street yelling at the top of their lungs. And I kind of went, well, what happened? I looked at it, and I just looked at some of the music people are listening to, and it's a bunch of people on tape yelling at the top of their lungs. I went, people will listen to you a lot better if you bring it back just this much, And I just went, everybody seems to be angry all the time on both sides, Republicans, Democrats, whoever. It doesn't really make any difference, but everybody's angry. And I just kind of remembered some of the Stevie Wonder songs that were just, Love's in Need of Love Today, some of those really beautiful songs. So I started kind of writing it. And as I was writing it, I just kind of sort of tripped in to just say, hey man, let's just get in the middle of a Stevie song. It might give you a little better eyeball on what's going on. So, and it's an homage to Stevie Wonder. He's over the years has written such beautiful stuff,
Yeah, and I guess that's where the feel-good vibe of the song comes from.
Yeah. Yeah. It was just, I don't know. I've tried in every way I can to try to get him to get it to him, to get him to hear it. I don't know whether he has or not. I've had a couple of ways to do it. kind of surrounded with people that are really very protective of him.
Oh,
So,
I can imagine.
so it's kind of hard to get through to him at some level.
Well, hopefully one day he'll hear it.
Yeah, someday he probably will. You know, I like the song. I needed something different. It was the only one where I actually had a friend help me, you know, engineer the record, engineer the vocal. Usually I just do my own engineering. I just sing it and punch myself in and out, you know, boom. Not quite like that. But I had Carmen Grillo, an old dear friend of mine, and he's got a studio. He's got great, you know, great gear. And I got to do this differently. I was just not, I just wasn't on the wavelength that I needed to be on to sing that. So I got Carmen involved. He ended up co-producing the song. I actually did the piano at his house because he's got a pretty nice piano there. So that was one of the few things that I kind of farmed out, you know, when I said, I got to get some help on this. I mean, in addition to all the other players and all the rest of the stuff that was going on, it was that particular song I kind of needed help putting it together, you know?
Exactly. And you know, I have to say, the great thing about the internet is that I'm able to discover so much good music that I missed out on simply because I wasn't born yet.
Yeah, there was a certain era that was really cool. It was really good stuff.
No, and I realized that you did quite a few songs with Steve Lukather, who I'm a big fan of. And I was listening to Runaway from one of your first records, and that's such a great song. What do you remember about working with Steve Lukather on that?
Oh, I've worked with Luke. I think the first time I worked with Luke was one on David Foster. I think he was doing a very first production that he was doing. And this was years and years ago. He was at, I think Sound Labs might have been the studio he was at. And I just happened to be there hanging. And he wanted me to do some background vocals on it. And I can't remember who the artist was. And Steve happened to be there. And David said, and Steve was 18, maybe 19 years old.
Oh, wow.
And David said, hey, you guys, you know, we'll just go sing some little background chords and stuff. I said, sure. So first time I worked with him was on that. And then when I did my first solo album with David Foster, the single album, Luke was on a good handful of it. And he's just one of the best musicians ever. I mean, he and Jay Graydon and Steve Lukather and I wrote George Benson's, it was a big hit, Turn Your Love Around.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah, it was Luke that co-wrote that. And on the demo, I think he played piano.
Yeah, he's
one of those. He's one of those guys that plays everything. I just want to shoot him.
No, and he's actually making a new album as well. So
yeah, he is.
It's great to see, you know, people.
I just saw a video he did yesterday. I mean, I think it's Here Comes the Sun or something like that. I forget the title.
Oh, I Found the Sun Again.
I Found the Sun Again. Yeah, beautiful. It just once again is Luke landing right in the middle of the clover. You know, I mean, it's just such a great. And you know, for a long time he wasn't really kind of considering himself a singer, but he was. He was singing all the time. And I think he's just become a really, really great singer over the years, playing.
Yeah.
You know,
a
lot of times if you're really a good instrumentalist, you kind of don't give yourself a chance to really get in and, you know, hop into that whole singer's thing, you know, because you're busy being guitar guy, you know. But I mean, with Toto, he's always done a lot of singing. So I mean, he's a bad boy. He's a serious bad boy. I love him to death. And Toto should be on a government grant. I mean, those guys are, people go, wow, this album isn't as good as Hydra, and this isn't as good as this. And I'm going, it's the best, no matter what they do. They could fall on their faces and it would sound beautiful.
Yeah, I'm sure they're kind of annoyed with just being known for Africa, because they make so many songs totally different from Africa. You know, I've seen them live a few times, and they can really rock out. So.
Oh, they're insane. They're great. And I do a lot of work with Joseph Williams, I've worked a lot with Bobby Kimball over the years back in the day, but I did, you know, we have a little bit of I guess you'd call it a band. It's Joseph, me, and a guy named Peter Friestedt, who kind of produces these projects. Peter's based in Sweden. So we got a band that's pretty far away, but I mean, I haven't hardly seen Joe. He's been so busy with Toto and solo albums and everything else. It's kind of hard to find. Hey, Joe, where are you? You know, hard at work. That's one thing about those guys. They never stop working.
That's good. It's good to know that you can still have that energy.
Well, this day and age, especially with, I don't know about Massachusetts, but California is locked down pretty tight.
Yeah, no, here too.
Yeah, it's been pretty crazy. I mean, there's no restaurants open at all. I mean, you can maybe go there and get takeout, but that's about all, finish working in the studio. Hey, let's go have some sushi. No, we're not going to do that. It ain't going to happen. So I think during this last year and everything, everybody, there's a lot of records were being recorded. And I think Luke's and Joseph's were being recorded at the same time I was doing mine. Huh. It's our answer to COVID-19.
Exactly, right?
Well, you can't go out and play live. I mean, I don't think there's any live gigs. There might be here and there off and on, but I haven't seen it. I've done one live gig in a year.
I think in a
year. The last live gig I played, I did one in pretty far Southern California, a little eastern, and at a casino that had an open area. We did the one gig there a little while back, maybe 3 months ago. That's it since January 19th.
That's crazy. I know everyone's like revving to get back out on the road.
Oh, it's crazy. I mean, at some level, the silver lining in the COVID cloud is that a lot of new music has come out of it. A lot of people have been doing some writing, and I know I did the same thing. I just went boom, and I've usually written for other projects and bands and different things like that. And my wife Tamara, who sings and writes with me on a lot of this, she just heard me writing one of these tunes, and she went, Bill, it's time. Let's put Wonderground away. Let's put some of this other stuff away. Why don't you just do a solo album? It's been 10 years, more than 10 years since the last one you did. So she's the one that kind of said, I think you're ready for a solo album. So I started digging in pretty deep, and what we got is what we got. We got an album out of it.
Well, I think she had the right solution.
Yeah, I mean, it just seemed like the thing to do, and then it was right around the time the I think restaurants were, you got to eat outside. It was still kind of, well, this will be over in a minute, and it just kind of kept getting worse and worse. So, and that's sort of the way the viruses work. I've got an appointment next Wednesday for my shot. At least I'm going to get the vaccine. Yeah.
Are you nervous for it? Or are you excited?
I've gone through numerous physical medical situations where I've come out of, I did a hospital stay when I was on a trip I was playing with Danny Seraphin at CTA, and we went on one of those music cruises on the cruise boats, which I just call them, Petri dishes that float.
Exactly.
And then I went onto a Petri dish that flies. The next thing I know, I was in the hospital with a pneumonia.
Oh no.
And I had so many needles in me. I looked like a bebop jazz musician from the mid 50s in New York. I was packing tracks, and it was just, they've got to take blood every little while. You got your IV, you got this and the other thing. So shots don't affect me the way they used to,
So you're used to it.
Yeah, at this point in the game, poke away, I'm fine. I can deal with it. When I was a kid, the doctor had to chase me around to get me to take a polio booster shot. What I mean? Not known for my courage.
Right. Well, that's good. At least you'll have that checked off, and you'll be ready to go.
Yeah, I hope so. And I was trying to figure out how to do it, and the state of California and city of LA basically screwed it up big time. Wow, we got you ready for your second shot. Wait, where's my first one? And I tried to cancel. They wouldn't let me cancel. It was like, well, goodbye, see you. And then a hospital that I'd been in before got in touch with me. They looked through their records, and they saw people of certain age that were ready to go. So, I mean, they called me, and I went, wow, this is going to work great. So I went ahead and did it. So I'm in.
Nice. Made it on the list.
Yeah. Got to wait in your car. They're going to just give it to you in the car. It's just really cool. They don't even have to get out of the car.
That's good. That's convenient.
You got to love that, But in the meantime, Tamara and I, we've been, the digital release of Livin for Love, the album was, I think, the 22nd of January, and it's going real well. People are downloading it like crazy all over. And I know a lot of people really prefer CDs and packages and booklets that they can read and all that. So we're, Imagine Records, which has been great. They're doing the digital, and they said, well, yeah, go ahead and do the CD yourself. So Tamara and I have been packing up envelopes and putting, going to the post office every couple of days, sending CDs out. So that's what our job is. We're around the living room table, or the dining room table, just covered with CDs and mailers and customs forms and the whole 9 yards. I mean, we've been in this for about, I don't know, a couple of weeks now. It's just been kicking pretty hard.
Well, that's exciting stuff, though, that people are
it's the mom and pop store, literally.
Exactly, yeah. No, I'm the same. I still prefer having a physical copy of music and
I agree.
Taking out the booklet, reading the lyrics.
Yeah. While you're listening to the music, you can kind of follow the lyrics along. And I got most of them. I found some mistakes in the booklet because I had a Swedish company do the booklet. So some of the words they didn't quite understand, and some of the indentations, the way I like to write, the verse, and then a little space in the pre-chorus, and then a little space in the chorus. So they kind of screwed up some of that, but I don't want to deal with it. I'll take it the way it is. People can still read it.
Yeah. They'll still enjoy it.
Right. There was one song, it was great. There's one song on the title page. It was called Losing Ground. And somehow it ended up Loosen Ground, two L's, or no, two O's, Loosen Ground. And I've sung with a friend of mine, one of the co-writers on the record, Andreas Carlson, is really a big writer and TV producer. I mean, he's just a entrepreneurial musician that I know from Sweden, and whenever I've sung with him, if I'm saying the word loosen, it comes loosen. They're just, Swedes are, you got to go, hey, hit me with a Z sound, and he knows how to do it. It's just that that's not what, I don't think there's a lot of Z sound in the Swedish language that I can see,
Well, I guess they put their little touch on it.
Yeah, absolutely. No question about it. But, all these hits have come out of Sweden, out of Stockholm, have been.
There's so many producers that come out of there. And ABBA was really big for a while.
Yeah, and I think that's what kind of started it. And then you had a lot of different people. Max Martin works out of there. And Andreas Carlson was co-writing with Max Martin on a lot of different pieces of music. A guy named Christian, I never remember his last name, but he was there. Yeah, he lives actually right up the street from here right now. So it's definitely been a pop music center of the world. You know what I mean? A lot of people, even country acts, go over there to record. I think Taylor Swift maybe did some stuff over there. So, well, get ready for shrimp toast.
Is that what they eat there?
Yeah, I know. It's just a different vibe. I love Sweden. I mean, I just love to go there. I've been there. I've worked there. I've worked with musicians there a lot. Played a lot of gigs there. It's really a fun place to be.
Well, it's on my bucket list. I've yet to make it to Scandinavia, but yeah, I've heard great things.
Oh, it's beautiful. I mean, there's just something, and even with this COVID thing, they never really shut down the way a lot of the rest of the world did. So I mean, it's pretty crazy. They've had a certain amount of spiking in the virus, but nowhere near California. I mean, California went through the roof. But a lot of people are saying they've been kind of cooking the books, shall we say, given numbers that aren't really true. So and I don't know how any of that works. All I know is that I'm at the age where I'm susceptible to it. So the best thing to do is get a shot. That's what it is. But the album, the thing that I really like about this album in some ways is there's songs on it that are really personal. I mean, I read somewhere that says if it's not personal, it's not art. And I kind of went, now it's time to not just do pop songs. Now it's time to try to say what's going on. I mean, I had a really rough year a couple of years back. I lost my son, my older son, the day after I was diagnosed with cancer.
Oh, wow.
So, and he died of cancer the next day. It was a bad week, real bad week. And it turned out to be a pretty bad year because I was fighting it all year long. Changes your viewpoint on how you see the world and how you write songs and what you're talking about and the things that mean something to you. And a lot of that went into the record. I mean, there's a song called Another Lie on there that's really about my relationship with Brad the last 2 years of his life, because he had esophageal cancer, and that is about as no fun as you can get. Mm-hmm. One drink of water, the thing hits it, and it's like just pain through the roof. Oh, wow. So it's just so crazy that, he got to where he was really thin. I mean, really thin. He's 6'2", he was 120 pounds. It was like wrong, really wrong. But, it's just that disease has a way of messing with you. And I don't really, you know, I always tell people, said, don't outlive your kids. It's not a good thing. It's not a fun thing. But at any rate, that's, you know, enough of that. That we spent, I mean, I really spent a lot of time trying to dig in and make the lyrics something, meaning something that people can relate to. And not on all the songs. Some of the songs are straight ahead, just, you know, in your, like, especially me, is just kicking, you know, it's just, that's an R&B song. And that's the way I, you know, I mean, I look at it as an R&B song. It's just straight ahead groove, you know. And Greg Matheson, when he does a track, forget about it. It's bad to the bone. And then I had some of the other people I had on the record. I got Steve Porcaro, actually on Stevie's song. Steve Porcaro from Toto did a lot of the synthesizer stuff on it, and string kind of stuff. And you know, Steve Porcaro is as good at that as anybody on the earth.
Oh yeah, he's amazing.
He's awesome. He's just an awesome musician. He's turned out to be a pretty damn good singer in his old age, you know. So he's just kicking like a mule. I mean, I love working with him. I work with Lenny Castro, who played percussion with Toto for years and years.
Oh yeah.
So Lenny's all over this record. I mean, I think that all but maybe 2 songs. It's just Lenny City. I mean, and you know, I called him and said, hey, you want to do this? He says, yeah, I can just record it at my house. And I just dropped the drive off. And I said, let me know when you're done. What am I going to do? Tell him I want congas here and bongos there? I'll leave that to him. He knows what he's doing. And he did a bang up job. He's just as good as it gets. And then I had some soloists. Gary Falcone, who was a member of Wonderground, played a solo on one of the tunes and did some singing around the record. Mark Russo, who plays with the Doobie Brothers, a sax player, used to play with the Sons, my other band, and Mark just tore it up. He was a monster on the record. And then I got Tal Morris, who was once again another guy who was in the Sons at one time. So I got some guys blowing on the record.
Yeah, you got some big names there. That explains why the production is like top notch.
Well, I think what really makes it great is, I mean, I did most of the work here at the house. And then I replaced, you know, I usually work with just just a fake drums, you know, and I'll just work with those and get the guitars done, you know, keyboards, maybe even all the vocals and stuff. Then I'll replace the drums with a real drummer, and it just wakes it up like crazy. It's just like, oh, now we're talking. And I had Gordon Campbell play on half of the record, and I had Alan Hertz play on the other half. And Alan's the guy that mixed the record. He's not only a great drummer, plays with the Sons also. He's not only a great drummer, but he's a wonderful Pro Tools engineer. A great engineer. He knows his way around. And he and I mixed the record, so it sounded really good. And then we went to just a legendary mastering engineer, Joe Gastwort, he's been doing the Grateful Dead records for years, and he actually remastered Hendrix. There was a TV thing or a movie of Hendrix at Monterey Pop Festival, and Joe was the guy that remastered that. So it's pretty cool. I really, and someone, excuse me, they got cancer pretty wired. I wish they could deal with this pesky hay fever business, you know. But I've just been, I'm dripping every day. It's just craziness. But at any rate, I got good people on the record. I mean, it just made it wake up a lot. And Tamara was there all the way top to bottom for me, so she was catching a lot of the high parts, and she's as good a singer as there is. You know, she's really great pipes. Reason to Believe, she and I wrote together, and that ended up being Bruce Geitz, who's an old friend of ours who lives in Nashville area. He sent us a track, and the track had been around. I'm talking about Reason to Believe. He'd had the track in a folder for years that he hadn't done anything with it. So he said, well, what do you think of this? You know, and the minute we heard it, Tamara said, give me that. I'm on that. We're on that. You know, we got that written in an hour and a half. I mean, we did the melodies and the vocals. And then I said, all right, who's on it? And he says, well, Vinny Colaiuta's playing drums. Oh, nothing. He's as good as it gets. You know, he played with Sting, and he's just Vinny's Monsters used to play with Joni Mitchell at one time. He's just probably considered the badass of LA at this point of the game. You know, he's just a serious, great drummer. And then what really did my heart good was that George Hawkins was playing on it, and George passed away a couple of years ago. So I got a posthumous George Hawkins track on the record, and that was really cool. On another song later on, we got Abraham Laboriel Sr. to play bass on it. He's one of the best bass players on the earth. So I got my 2 favorite bass players on the record, and that was just, I just lucked into it. You know, I knew I couldn't, man, I can't get George. I'd love to have him play the whole record. And then I played some bass on it, and I did a lot of keyboard bass and stuff. So I think a lot of it, the record, as it started to grow, I could see this thing's going to be good. We're going to, you know, if got to be real careful at this point of the game. That's why Alan, when I get Alan into it, is in terms of mixing, there's nobody better. You know, it's not well known. Not a lot of people know about it. He's not one of the big names of engineering, but I like what he does. You know, I like how he does it, and all his gear and the way he knows how to use it. He's just amazing. Plus, he's one of the best drummers on the earth. So it's a one-stop shop. You know what I mean?
I think people will know his name now after taking a listen to this album.
Well, I think so. Something tells me that people are going to go, "Who?" Because everybody who's heard it just said, "Man, this thing sounds really good. This big fat sounding record," and that's what it is. I mean, we even got. I mean, I was running around with 24-bit CD, and then when we got the actual manufactured CDs, it goes to 16-bit. A lot of time you lose a little bit of bigness. And with this record, it made it sound better. I was more aware of Lenny's percussion parts with the CD as compared to the original 24-bit wave files that I had. So, I mean, I was just kind of going, man, I mean, a lot of things that made this thing good were just luck. I just tripped into things. And if you wander through, you know, through the making of a record, and just let things happen the way they just seem to come to you, boom, you end up with some really, really cool stuff. And that's like with Mark Russo. I was looking for a horn section, and I found, for especially me, and I kind of went, you know, I'm just going to have Mark stack it. So Mark just played baritone sax, 2 tenor saxes, and 2 alto saxes. Made it sound like a big fat horn section because the altos are up there in the trumpet range. And he just smacked it, you know, I mean, he just nailed it to the wall. And then later on The Truth Has Begun, he did a solo. And then I just gave him the tag because he was playing so good. I said, just take the whole end of the song. And that's where the plot sickened. He just went to town. And, you know, Mark's, he's such a pal, such a buddy. It's such a great musician. He played with the original Yellow Jackets, or one of the first of the Yellow Jackets.
Yellow Jackets.
They're amazing. They're great. I mean, Russ Ferrante, please, you know, what a great piano player that guy is, you know. And then he played, I actually had him just throw a little bit of sax on a Stevie song, just because I had a little melody in there. And he said, yeah, let me jump on that right away. So, and he did all this at his house. I just sent him the files. He did it. He sent them back. I didn't even have to see him, which, you know, because that's how records are being made, at least this year, because of COVID, you know?
Yeah, I was going to ask you, do you like this new way of making music, being able to do it remotely and from home, or do you kind of miss working in the studio?
Yeah, I've done a lot of things where people send me a track and I do a vocal on it and then send it back. So it's not new to me on any level, but I kind of prefer everybody get together in a room and let's put it together that way. There's sometimes real tracks really make a giant difference, you know, wherever the basics are, just like the records that the older records that we all like. That's the way they were cut.
Yeah, spending like hours in the studio.
Yeah.
Till the early morning.
Yeah. Well, you know, you know, there's just something about having a band. You know, you go in with a bass player, a guitar player, a keyboard player, and a drummer, and put the tracks down that way with a decent chart and a decent song. You can usually end up getting a really great feel on it. But I know what I want it to feel like, and I can pretty much do that in a remote by doing remotes. You know, I usually don't. I mean, the way I produce, I want to be there for everything that goes down. I know a lot of guys just say, hey, I'm going to send this out to this bass player who's on the road. He'll knock off the bass parts in a hotel room and send it back. And I don't really dig that much. I'd rather be there when he's playing, you know?
More personal, and you can kind of give feedback.
Yeah, I mean, it's just as a producer, you know, and on this record, I was the producer pretty much. So I have my druthers, but at some level, this worked. I mean, this time around, it really worked. I remember I sent the final mix to it, but before we mastered, I sent the mix to Greg Matheson, and because he lives in Palm Springs. So we did a lot of remote stuff with him as he's down there. And he said, man, it sounds like a band. He said the whole thing. It sounds like a band went into the studio and knocked this off. It really sounds. There's things that are kind of similar and familiar sounding, and it's just the way you mixed it and the way you put it together. It really sounds like a band. And I'm a years gone by band guy. There's a lot of solo guys, and I'm really. It's a solo album, but I'm kind of a band guy. I mean, I like it. I like the thing to feel like a band. Also, when you do go out, when they say it's okay, and we do go out and play it live, we got something that really lends itself to playing live. So all of this music could be done live really easily.
I would love to see it live. I have to say.
I can't wait. I'm chomping at the bit. I'm going, man, I haven't sung in a month. That's unheard of for me. You know, I've been singing for my supper since I was 14 years old. I mean, or doing gigs and, you know, just the basic thing. And I'm just kind of going, you know, because Tamara said that a lot. She said, well, you know, I haven't been singing regularly, so it's kind of hard to go in the studio and just go boom, you know, because I think the next album that we do is probably that's going to come out of here is probably going to be Tamara's. I mean, she's got tons of great gear, what am I talking about? She's got tons of songs ready to go, stuff that's already kind of fleshed out and we've already got done. And she sings her brains out. I mean, she's as good as it gets. She really sings with some power. And a lot of the girl singers this day and age, somebody said, they all sound like Minnie Mouse. Hey, Mickey, you know, it's just,
I agree.
Kind of a little small, and let me see if I can get a sex kitten vibe. And Tamara's like, let me see if I can melt the microphone. I'm gonna tear it up, you know.
Right.
And I've done all kinds of gig, and the minute she opens on her lead vocal, the minute she opens her mouth on a gig, people are just, whoa, this is slamming. You know, this girl can hit, you know.
Nice.
Then we go, oh yeah, you're working with your wife. Yeah, we've heard this before. This is all, you know. Yeah, this is different. She's really great. She's really great.
I think that's
I'm really lucky to have her here because my high falsetto ain't what it used to be. So it's hey Tam, I need a high note. Could you just sing these notes for me? And she's right there. You know, oh yeah, sure. Let me knock this off. So she's really good at, and she's such a good writer, such a good singer that she's next. I mean, that's the next record I'm going to do.
Well, it sounds like you guys are going to have a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, it keeps us busy. It keeps us really going on. My son Will's working on stuff all the time in the studio. So, I mean, I always try to get him and say, hey, Will, you want to work with us on this? He said, nah. I don't want to go play with mom and dad. You know, what is this, the cow sills? Give me a break. You know,
for that.
Yeah, you know, he's not, you know. Next thing you know, we're going to be singing, here's a story about a man named Brady. You know, I'm not going there, you know, so he kind of keeps to his own world, you know, and he's really good at what he does. So more power to him. I just hope he every once in a while, I need like a jazzy kind of piano, and Will's right there. So, man, do a couple tracks for me. And he just knocks them off, and I put together what I want out of it. And it's always just monstrous. He's just a great player. That's what you get from Berkeley. You know, he's got a BA in music. David Foster once said, Champlin, you got a BA in music. And I was looking at him and he said, yeah, bad attitude. David's an old pal. You know, we've worked together a year. I mean, it's been a long time, but we used to work together like almost every day.
Yeah. Doesn't he have I feel like I saw a Netflix documentary on him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. He's worked with so many great people.
Yeah, he's been in there. I mean, I love what he said. I mean, I spent the last 35 years of my life in a submarine. That's what he calls a studio. You know, I said, yeah, I kind of understand what you mean. I mean, anytime I've built a studio, I made sure there were windows. They may be soundproof windows, but I made sure there's a little bit of natural light coming in. Especially if you're working in the daytime. At night doesn't make any difference. But it's just something about the studio. After a while, it really is like a little sort of a cell. It's a prison cell in some kind of way, you know. Here I am stuck in this room with all this gear. There's electricity everywhere. I got to be picking up some radiation somehow. And I just saw David playing right before the shutdown started to happen. There was a show he did up here, right close to here in LA. And we went, me and Jay Graydon and some other friends of ours from Norway went to the show, and it was insanely great. Just had a small band. It had him on piano, of course, a drummer, bass player and a utility keyboard player, and about 4 or 5 insanely great singers. His wife, what's her name? Another name that's, anyway, she's one of the singers, Mrs. Foster, I would imagine. She's one of the singers. He's got one guy that can do all the operatic stuff that he did with an Italian opera singer. And I mean, it's just amazing. It was so cool to see him, and he was talking to the audience. It was really a very, very natural stage personality, which, I never saw before. I always thought of him as, this is a behind the glass kind of guy, and he really was a great show. I had a ball checking it out. Plus he plays his brains out. He's ridiculous, I just want to take a chainsaw out of those hands. Such a good piano player. I mean, Greg Matheson one time said, David Foster is the best pop piano player on the earth, bar none. I mean, what he puts together. I mean, listen to some of that Chicago stuff that he was playing on. Hard Habit to Break or Inspiration. You're the Inspiration.
Yeah.
Just an amazing piano player, So, I mean, that really kind of brings him to the ball game like nobody's business. That's what he's bringing to the game, That he's such a good writer. And one of the reasons he's such a good writer is that he's such a great arranger. So, I mean, I had a ball working with David, I mean, I learned a lot of music, and he kind of got a eyeball from me about where to put vocals and how to put them in there.
Yeah. I remember from the Netflix documentary, I think it was Celine Dion telling the story, like, David really pushed me to hit these notes, and he said, if you can't do it, I'll just go get Whitney Houston to do it.
Yeah, that'll help. That could either work or not work. I guess it worked, because there's that one high note on that one. I can't remember what the song is, but boy, did she tear it up.
Yeah.
Celine's an amazing singer. She's one of those just gifted people that are just out of whack. I mean,
I miss those days of all these female vocalists who could really hit these ranges. So going back,
I think now probably one of the best singers out there, although she's a little bit, I think, acrobatic at this point of the game, is Ariana Grande. She's a great singer. There's no question about it. She really knows her way around them, how to get a lot of stuff. But I think a lot of what she's doing right now is maybe singing too much. That's why Celine was so good. She had the ability to go anywhere, do anything, but and she can knock off a lick here and there, but she's not just all licks. All after a while, it's like, and I was kind of, accused of that years ago, but I've never had those kind of chops. The older I get, the more I kind of lean right into trying to put your English and your style on pretty close to the melody if I can. I'll change a little bit of the rhythm of it just to get it to groove a little better, but I'm kind of a little more like, and I was not always that way. I was always, I'm gonna find a different melody, But at least on songs that I've written, I usually write my style into the song, so it's pretty easy to do.
Right.
I don't have to figure out what this other guy wanted. You know what I mean?
Exactly. So I just wanted to go back to the record. Where can people find it? Is it on all platforms?
I think it's on all digital platforms. Now, if you're one of those people that really likes to have a CD, we're doing it out of our house at BillChamplin.com. Pretty easy. And it's got /shop, but just go to BillChamplin.com and it'll tell you where to go and how to get it. And it's a PayPal situation, and we go to the post office every couple of days sending the stuff out. And it's people are really digging the record. It's really, really a cool album. I mean, I listened when it was finally done. I listened to it. I went, I did this. This is working. It's working for sure.
It's definitely something to be proud of.
Yeah, I'm kind of digging this one. I like the last one that I did about 12 years ago. No Place Left to Fall. It's a great album, and the Wonderground album, which is me and Tamara and Gary Falcone, is a cool album. But this one's just got some. I got lucky with this one. And I always figure that there's a luck factor, or what I call the fluke factor. If I allow myself to wander enough, I'll trip into what I need, and it's just recognizing that that's a good idea. Let's do it, because there's a million ideas per beat in my world. You know, you got to decide, what am I going to do? Too many choices doesn't work for me. I really like just forward, you know, damn the torpedoes, full speed ahead. Let's just go. And that's kind of what I did with this album. And I think it's really, there's some really personal stuff in there. And then there's some just slamming grooves. I mean, all of the songs, even the slow, pretty ones, that grooving like a dog.
Absolutely.
Got a deep pocket, and that's really kind of one of the things that means a lot to me. It means a lot to people listening, you know.
Definitely. Well, yeah. I'm really excited about it, and
well, thank you, Jan.
And I'm really hoping to see you perform it live. You know, when
I can't
live
wait.
shows happen again.
yeah. Once it opens up, I think with the vaccine, it's taken a little while for the vaccine to get to everybody, but I think once it gets to everybody, things should open up. Whether they do or not, who knows? I mean, I noticed the minute that vaccine was in the headlines, there was a new strain. It's like, oh no!
Right? It's like,
wow, give me. But then all of a sudden they came out and said, well, this vaccine will keep you from getting the new strain also. So we're hoping that they don't come up with one that where we got to start all over again.
I know, fingers crossed.
Yeah, please. I don't want to do this anymore. The country's had enough. We gotta get back to work. You know?
We've been through hell and back.
I mean, Tamara's crazy. She's, this is diabolical. We have no music. There's no live music. This has never happened ever in the world, ever in history. You know, and she's right. You know, all of a sudden you can't play, and we're talking about rock musicians. Wait a minute. You know, hold it. You told me I can't do something. This is war.
Exactly.
You know, them fighting words, you know. I mean, we do what we can. We try to, you know, I just pray that this stuff will get better, that this whole COVID thing will get better, and we can all get back to work.
Exactly. Me too.
You know, yeah.
Well, thanks again, Bill, for your time. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you so much for having me, and just to your listeners, and please enjoy the music. You know, a couple places to find it, and it's all right there for you.